Combat operations continue in the east and south of Ukraine. In recent days there have been no significant advances by the Russian army. Here is an infographic of combat clashes along the front lines over the past 7 days. Overall, last week's activity increased by 15%, with intensified clashes occurring in almost all directions. The most active direction is Avdiivka, 231 clashes. The least active direction is Robotino, 32 clashes. Hey, my name is Alex and this is a quick update on the Russian-Ukrainian war from the perspective of someone living within it. So let's move on to the situation overview on the front lines. Svatov sector. The high tempo of combat continues in the areas of Klishchiivka and Kotlarivka. South of Krakhmalny, the Ukrainian armed forces repelled an enemy assault and destroyed 2 armored vehicles in the area marked on the map. The situation remained unchanged. Liman direction. A certain calm prevails in Terny and the outskirts of Kremlin over the past months. Russians are actively accumulating resources because Russian soldiers either perish in Terny or simply flee in Serebryansky forest. So it is not excluded that the situation will soon escalate, and again they will start dying more under Terny as it was a month ago. Siversky direction. Battles on low intensity are taking place with no change reported. On video you can hear the hellish symphony of Serebryansky forest. In the frames of this video, 81st Separate Airborne Brigade drone strike operators of SOVA unit work on enemy equipment and personnel in the area of Bilohorivka. Russians write in their chats that there is hell in Bilohorivka. They write that there is no good news from there, that 2 battalions of the Russian army were destroyed in just 1 day, on March 10th. And another writes that Russian soldiers are disappearing in droves there. Here one of the latest video. Another Russian mobile garage based on a tank was stopped in the area of this same village. And this is what a similar Russian tank garage with a mine trowel looks like up close. It's a big shed. You can't easily stop it with FPV drones, several are needed, but this defense doesn't save against mines, RPGs and javelins. Chasiv Yar sector. Despite being one of the hottest sections, there have been no advances by the Russian army reported. A video from the 5th Assault Brigade covering the front between Ivanivsky and Kislivka villages. A BMP-1 in garage-on-track configuration moves towards Ukrainian positions and is blown up twice on mines. In the first time it was lucky, the second hit became fatal, both for the machine itself and for the infantry. The footage also shows 2 garages deploying a smoke screen to cover the attack from the defense forces, means of engagement. Avdiivka direction. The enemy continue assault action east of Novo-Alexandrivka. Additionally, the enemy applies pressure along the railway in the western direction. Ukrainian armed forces attacked enemy assault groups at the point marked on the map. Footage shows the Bradley getting ready for action in outskirts of Ocheretino. It's a prime example of military equipment. The effectiveness of this machine is hard to underestimate. Battles continue west of Solovyovo and east of Novopokrovsk. Fighters from the drone unit of 47th Separate Mechanized Brigade showed footage of destroying a Russian T-90 tank on the eastern outskirts of Solovyovo. And in this video, the detonation of a Russian BMP on the western outskirts of the same village. Excellent work from the remote mine laying unit of the 47th Separate Mechanized Brigade as captured by the aerial reconnaissance team of Bolzha Sprava. Also, more footage from the same areas. Another Russian airborne unit of an MTLB which was heading for an assault but was hit by defense forces fighters between Solovyovo and Novobakhmutivka. Further south on the map, on the same direction, battles continue in the central part of Netailove and south of Pervomaiske. Ukrainian armed forces destroyed a column of enemy armored vehicles on the southern outskirts of Netailove. Defense forces conducted a missile and bomb strike on the Avdiivka coking plant. Judging by the huge black column of smoke, they hit exactly where needed, Kurachiv direction. Battles continue in Krasnohorivka and the eastern part of Georgiivka. The city of Krasnohorivka is being turned into yet another ruin by the Russians. They bombard with everything they have: UAVs, grads, NARS, artillery and mortars. Destruction of another group of Russian bikers, representatives of the Sons of Anarchy gang, in the area of Novomikhailivka on this segment of the front. The video is from the soldiers of the 79th Separate Air Assault Brigade. Velikonovoselivsky direction. Moderate intensity combat action continue on this front segment. All attacks by the Russian army have been successfully repelled. No changes on the map have been recorded. In this video, episodes of combat operations by the soldiers of the 58th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade in the area of Urozhaine over the past few days are depicted. Destruction of enemy armored vehicles and personnel, artillery and drone crew operations. The video also demonstrates a Ukrainian infantry counterattack and subsequent clearance of the farm, which the enemy managed to enter. Several Russians were taken prisoner. Robotyne segment. In Robotyne, two enemy assaulters on motorcycles attempt to establish themselves along Mira Street at the point indicated on the map. The situation is being clarified, and this is how the village looks now from a bird's eye view. Reconnaissance from the 3rd Operational Brigade Spartan of the National Guard unit shares footage of the aftermath of fierce battles for the settlement. In the area of Novoprokopivka, a rocket bomb strike by the Ukrainian Defense Forces using a French-guided AASM bomb was recorded. It was stated to have targeted the location of Russian drone operators' base. And in this video, a Ukrainian soldier shares footage with captured prisoner on the same front. According to the fighter, the situation is under control. Video from May 6. Tavria segment. Operators from the 123rd Mykolaiv Brigades conducted remine mining on the water body on the left bank of Kherson region, dropping an Anchor River mine from a drone. The results are visible on the video. No change on the map have been recorded in this segment. So, as we can see, the Russian advance has slowed down in recent days, despite their obvious haste to achieve some success before Ukraine received Western assistance. Meanwhile, military equipment of Western models is being delivered to Ukraine. In the video, a Pole observes a truck loaded with M2 Bradley move towards the Ukrainian border. Only in this single video, about 10 units are captured. Also, the first F-16 aircraft for Ukraine will be supplied by Denmark this summer. The Netherlands plan to begin sending F-16 fighters to Ukraine this autumn, following Denmark. Such a schedule implies a coordinated plan among allies, as reported by Delphi. Notable event in recent days includes the meeting of the French president with the leader of China and Putin inauguration. Commenting on these matters seems unnecessary to me, as they have already been extensively discussed in the news. At the highest level of the Russian government, there is a sense of panic. Whenever things start going poorly for them, they begin to threaten with nuclear weapon. Thus, the Russian Ministry of Defense announced the start of exercise for their tactical nuclear forces. These exercises are one of the informational intimidation that have long lost significance. For Russians, nuclear weapons have always been a means of intimidation and manipulation. Furthermore, the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs summoned the ambassador of France and Britain in Russia to express strong protest. British diplomat Nigel Casey was threatened in connection with statements made by David Cameron regarding Kyiv's right to strike Russia with British weapons. The Russians threatened that in response they could attack any military object and equipment of Great Britain on the territory of Ukraine and beyond. Following the British ambassador, the head of the French diplomatic representation arrived at the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The reason was Emmanuel Macron's statement about the possible dispatch of French troops to Ukraine if Russia managed to break through the front in Ukraine or if Ukraine requests it. Additionally, the hysterical statements from the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs declaring that Russia will pursue the appearance of F-16 aircraft in Ukraine as carriers of nuclear weapons, regardless of their modification, also emphasized panic in the Kremlin. So, where are you heading, Moscow? There is no self-respect left. You have puffed yourself up, acted tough, and intimidated everyone into fearing powerful Russia. But as soon as you realize that the weaker one might be held by the Western neighbors and that Ukraine might and will respond, hysteria ensued. It is pitiful to watch. You look like that elderly person shaking his tiny fists stretchingly at a NATO tank. Where do you think you are going with this, Muscovites? The sooner you gather and leave all occupied territories, the less catastrophic the end of this war will be for you. This way, you also will save a lot of lives from both sides. And that wraps up today's video. If you found this information helpful or somehow insightful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!